Transformation CEO Challenge. This is the recap, and today is actually day 7. So, in light of the fact that it is day 7, it's like we're at the midpoint of this challenge. There's a couple things I want to cover in this recap before we actually go into the content for today. Um, Number one, thank you for those of you who send emails and have sent some texts just asking questions. Please join the group. Your question that you send me in a private email is valuable for other people as well. And so I would appreciate if you join the Transformation CEO group. You can do that by going to transformationceo.com/challenge, and you'll be automatically added to the group where you can post and you can find some other resources there that I've shared with the group. And then we can make this a group effort so that all can benefit from the, the inquiry of one. But one of the, a couple of questions I got was about this guy. So this little guy that sits right here. It's a squirrel, and if you've heard the term shiny squirrel syndrome, like you follow these squirrels like you can't focus, this guy is a reminder for me to stay on focus. I call him my sexy shiny squirrel, and when I'm not focusing, when I just look at that thing, I'm reminded that I'm down a rabbit hole that I probably shouldn't be going down. But enough about this guy over here. Let's get into a bit of a recap. We're at day 7. So, first of all, let's just kind of run through each day that what we've covered so far. Day 1, we talked about setting your intention for transformation. And we talked about setting your intention for this challenge, but in actuality, this should be used for everything you want in your life. You should always set an intention for anything, and it's in bringing that energy into a project, intentionality behind it, where you start to see that your life will unfold in the way that you want it. Maybe not always exactly the way you see it in your head, but you'll gain rewards that are far greater than what you could have imagined. So, intentionality, putting intention behind it, setting your intention for everything that you want in your life is a powerful tool to utilize. So, that was day 1. Day 2, we talked about identifying limiting beliefs and limiting decisions, like how those beliefs that we form at one time in our life may have worked for us at one time, but really might not serve us today, and how having rigid and limiting beliefs actually inform the decisions that we make, which cause us to make limiting decisions, actually limiting our possibilities, limiting what's available to us, limiting our opportunities. Like there's um, so many drawbacks to living a life where it's governed by your limiting beliefs and limiting decisions. And there are payoffs as well. And some of those payoffs are feeling comfortable, staying in a comfort zone, knowing what to expect, creating this predictability around how life will unfold. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to have an extraordinary life, if you want to have a life beyond where you are today, you have to be willing to push past those limiting beliefs and limiting decisions that hold you back. So that was day 2. Day 3, we talked about aligning with your purpose, like really connecting with your purpose, tapping into the source that created us all, whatever you call it, whether it's God, Allah, Elohim, I call it the creator. Tapping in, connecting with that source, and then aligning your energy with the purpose that's given to you, or the purpose that speaks to you or calls you. And so, aligning with your purpose is a big one because um, what I've discovered in working with my own clients is when I see someone who is out of alignment with what they came here to do, often life for them occurs as boring, or it occurs to them as chaotic. It may occur to them um, as painful. It may occur to them as hard and arduous. And so when I work with people who get into alignment with their purpose, there is an element of certainty that one has once they align with their purpose. There's an element of congruency, of ease, of grace that emerges. And so, um, as I said before, days 1, 2, and 3, if you just get those, you're like on fire. So please go back and do the work around these 3 days, especially. Just root yourself in this foundation. It's going to pay off dividends. Day 4, we talked about visualizing your soulmate client, and I I frame this in the frame of client because predominantly my audiences typically are healers, spiritual practitioners, coaches, artists, and whatnot. And so they have clients. But we spoke about this being in utilizing the same framework for the concept of who we attract in our lives, whether it's your soulmate client or your actual soulmate. This works, setting the intention for who you want to energetically align with, whether it's work, whether it's your business, whether it's your practice, whether it's your life partner, whether it's your family, how you perceive the people who show up in your life, and how you can change those perceptions, and then how you can draw in or attract the people that you really want to align with. Day 5, we talked about overcoming the fear of visibility and stepping out and really staking your claim, and powerfully stepping into what you came here to do in a visible way and sharing that with the world. In day 6, we talked about creating your vision for success, not looking at what the world deems as successful, but really looking within to determine what it is that you deem successful. So that was a recap of all 6 days thus far. I'm going to reset the room right now, and then we're going to start with day 7. All right, welcome to day 7 of the Transformation CEO Challenge. I am Dr. EJ Johnson, your host and facilitator, and I'm here to support you on this journey. Today, we're on day 7. We are talking about building momentum with small wins. And I just want to kickstart this session today with saying that we have a very huge win that I'd love for you to acknowledge yourself for. We have completed 7 days of a 14-day challenge. That is not a small feat, right? If you've made it this far, you have to take a breath with me and just congratulate, acknowledge yourself for being committed to doing this work for 7 days straight. There's not a lot of people on the planet who would be willing to unpack stuff, uncover layers, look at new ways of being, and transform their ways of thinking for 7 consecutive days. Like you really want to take this on. Like celebrating your achievement of being in this challenge and actually taking it on powerfully and committing to yourself. Like it's not even about anybody else. It's not about anything or anyone else. It's really like giving that love note to yourself by doing this work for 7 days consecutively. So I just wanted to take a moment here in the beginning to acknowledge you and acknowledge that because it's a powerful place to stand. It's a great platform to continue to expand and evolve who you are. But without further ado, let's get into the content today. And don't forget to love on yourself a little bit today. So, why is it important? And that's actually what we're talking about. Why it's important to take these small actions to celebrate and love on ourselves and acknowledge the work that we do. These small actions, they build confidence, they build momentum, they build congruency, uh, and that's invaluable when it comes to living an extraordinary life, expanding beyond where you are. And, it's really about consistency. It's about doing, putting in the work, doing and putting in the work so that it leads to progress that can almost be predictable, right? If you put in the work and you continue to start to see this momentum build, it creates confidence. It creates, you know, building blocks for you to actually leverage and then grow even faster and exponentially. And so, the idea behind celebrating these smaller victories, smaller wins, is I always say set yourself up for success. Like there is no reason whatsoever that you need to berate yourself or come down on yourself about the failures all the time. We'll talk more about failures as I think we get into like days 11 or 12, but there is absolute power in you celebrating small victories and setting yourself up for success because it does lend itself to these creativity. It does lend yourself to expanded views of yourself. It lends you to feeling confident about the direction that you're headed. And so, what are small wins? Well, small wins are incremental steps. They're building blocks, right? Just like I said, they're building blocks toward a bigger goal. Sometimes we get discouraged or feel overwhelmed when we're looking at the bigger picture and not chunking it down to smaller wins. And so, looking at being a big picture thinker myself, a big vision thinker myself, I can see how it would be overwhelming to look at the bigness of a project, especially when you're walking in your purpose, right? You may not know how the whole project is going to unfold or how the whole realization of your purpose is going to unfold. And it's okay. You don't need to know that. What you need to do, all you're committed to doing, is taking small steps toward what it is you desire, toward your purpose. There's a quote, one of my favorite quotes of all time is by Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'm just going to paraphrase it a little bit because it has uh, there's another part to it, but I'm going to say the thing that this quote instills in me is that I don't really need to see the whole staircase, and he talks about it. You can look it up. It's the staircase quote. He says you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just take the first step in faith. You take the first step in faith. And I'm going to add to that and say you take the first step in faith and then you celebrate the fact that you took that first step in faith, right? It's about not only taking the first step, it's also about celebrating every step along the way, reinforcing positive reinforcement is essential to creating this foundation of congruency with the truth of who you are, right? So these tiny wins or small wins may seem insignificant, but I want to challenge you to treat each and every one as if it's instrumental and as if it is worthy of celebration. Uh, it The beauty of this is it creates a snowball effect. As you can see, like in this picture, the win starts off small, but over time, consistently building this sort of momentum creates these big movements in your purpose, your project, your desire, whatever it is you want to create in your life. It creates bigger movements, creates momentum. And that's what we're going for. We're looking to create that momentum. So, your action is to commit to one small action. Remember what I just said about Dr. King. You don't have to see the whole staircase. All you have to do is take one step, one step, one action step. Do yourself a favor. I'm sorry, I have something in my eye. Do yourself a favor and commit to this one small action. And I'm saying small here because it's like, if your goal is to serve 1 million people in some capacity, like I have a desire to help 1 million healers build the lifestyle and business that they desire, such that they feel congruent and confident in healing and helping the people that they came here to heal. That's a goal of mine. But if I think about it from that goal, it could seem overwhelming. 1 million people? Like, have I even contacted or connected with 1 million people before? I don't know. But if I think of it, oh, if I just take one coach, healer, artist at a time, and I help that one coach, that one healer, that one artist break through whatever barriers they may have to them being of service to their clients in a powerful and congruent way. If I just help one, then great, I'm on the path. I've taken one step, right? And actually, if you think about it, this challenge is a step, right? The very fact that you're watching this, you're here, you're taking this challenge, you may take one thing that was said throughout this our time together, and it may propel you into the stratosphere of your own purpose. And if just one of you did that, I have succeeded. I, I, I feel like that's a win. I feel like and I will even back it up a little bit. I feel like putting this challenge together for me was a win. You being here, another win. I can celebrate those wins. And so I invite you to do the same. Look in your own experience, look in your own life, look in your sphere of influence, and how can you set yourself up to win. There's another analogy that I want to share. I'm an 80s, well, I was born in 74, but I grew up in the 80s, and Michael Jackson was like everything. The beaded jacket, I really love the one of his videos. I never realized how profound and how brilliant it was until I did this work, right? And if you I did all those, if you look it up, it is the Bleeding video. It's an iconic video. The song is iconic. If you don't know it, I don't know who you are. But Billie Jean and Michael Jackson and looking for Billie Jean, right? And so every time he walks, one of the squares on the path illuminates something, or he goes to touch something, it illuminates, right? It lights up. And what I realized about looking at this video decades later is, isn't that like how we walk through life when we're on purpose? right? The whole street didn't illuminate as Michael was walking, only one block at a time. As he went to put his foot down, the path illuminated. And it it reminded me of the Dr. King quote because I don't need to have the whole street illuminated. I don't need to have the whole path of how I'm going to reach a million healers and impact. I don't need to have that whole path. I just need to take the first step, and the next step will be illuminated. And I get to celebrate the first step. I get to celebrate the fact that I know I created something in the first step. I get to celebrate the fact that the next step is going to emerge. It's going to open up. It's going to reveal itself. It's it's a powerful metaphor. And I don't know if Michael had that intention, but I know when I look at that video, I'm inspired because it's like I know that the next path is going to illuminate. So rather than align myself with the overwhelm of the bigger, broader purpose and picture and goal, my job is to focus and give all my energy and celebrate the victory of taking the first step that's in front of me. And so that's why this is so powerful. It's not for you to concern yourself with overwhelmment because overwhelmment distracts you. It's for you to focus on the beauty of the courage that you have and to celebrate the fact that you can take the first immediate step. You see, what separates you from everybody else is that they won't even consider the first step because they're so bogged down by looking at the bigger picture. Not saying that bigger picture thinking isn't valuable because I've asked you to do that already by visioning. But I'm saying when it comes to the task at hand today, your job is to just take the first step in front of you and then celebrate that first step or the next step or the next one. Hope this is making sense. The key to building this beautiful foundation that you're creating for yourself is when you take these steps is to pause for the wins. Pause for the wins. And we're going to talk about pausing for what we deem as a non-win as well because that's essential as well. But right now, just pause for the wins. Pause, take a breath, get present to the beauty and divinity that's flowing within you through that breath. Pause and look back and say, woo, I took that step. It's illuminated. Guess what? The next one is illuminated now, too. It's okay to celebrate yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't let anybody tell you any different. There's nothing wrong with celebrating the fact that you're moving forward with progress. All right. So, to recap, every small step adds up to a big result. Don't concern yourself with overwhelmment of the bigger picture and how it's going to manifest or unfold. Your concern is to illuminate, is to watch the step that's illuminated, step on it, take the step, take the action, and then celebrate it. And tomorrow we'll focus on being unstoppable in the face of procrastination. This tomorrow is beautiful because this is I'm going to be completely transparent with you. It's something that I personally want to continue to gain mastery around. But I'm going to share with you what I've done thus far, what I've learned, how to be unstoppable in the face of procrastination, and I'm going to continue to grow in this area myself. So I thank you for taking the journey with me. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you tomorrow for day number 8. Peace and blessings.